We are hiking Lion Mountain, which is in the Adirondacks, at the outer edge of it, and it is long overdue. This is my place where I go to become one with everything, to connect with nature, to get that higher vibe, that frequency, whatever you want to call it. A place where I just feel good. Didn't do it so much last year. I was running this, I was bartending and then managing, or like head bartender at this bar and restaurant in Vermont's Northeast Kingdom. And I was putting in like 80 hours a week, and it was good. There was a goal in mind, but long story short, I've been dealing with trauma since the loss of my son. I didn't do I maybe did one hike. Last year I was working so much and it kind of snuck up on me. I got in a pretty dark place. So this is long overdue. And I didn't always know what nature does for you, but I wasn't always as good at listening to that voice. You know, my son, he was non-verbal and mostly, so he kind of communicated on another level. He understood, he just couldn't get the words out. But once you learn it, once you get sync in that vibe with anybody, you're talking, you know. I would say that was a more pure way to talk, honestly. I would go out for hikes, and especially when I was stressed, like if I could get out for a hike, I just would feel so much better. But I don't know if I know it felt good and I enjoyed it, but I didn't put two and two together enough of just how good it was for me, what it did for me. At least I don't think I did. There were just so many voices that I needed to get out of the way, you know, and I hadn't. Ooh, got some muddiness here. Navigating the rocks. But I hadn't learned to get all those voices, all that clutter. When I finally did, I listened to myself, my energy, my vibe, what I needed. You know, then I spent a lot of time in nature with my kids. And now, you know, I can tell, like, my body tells me when I need certain things. Like if I'm start getting irritable or angry, or ooh, this is coming off, anything, I can just listen to my body and it's telling me, hey, you need to get out in nature. Hey, you need to go for a run. Hey, you need to go kayaking. Anyway, my son, like I said, he was nonverbal. Ooh, I'm sorry, I'm all tired. I gotta change out of this hoodie. Ooh, yeah. Hiking is all about layers. I'm glad I remembered that. I communicated with him differently in many ways. We were like synced together, you know. It's what happens when you have a nonverbal kiddo, and it's a good thing. We all should get there. Kind of shrug off all these stories we tell ourselves and get to the feelings, you know. Ooh, I'm going up the old trail, by the way. There's a newer trail with switchbacks and stuff, but I prefer going straight up the mountain, the old trail that I knew when I first moved here. Oh. Ooh, I tell you what, I'm out of shape. I got some of my tests back, and I might have already told you I got the fatty liver, the high cholesterol, the acid reflux, pre-diabetic. They want to do further checks on my gallbladder, but I've been eating better and exercising more, and my body's already feeling better. We need to connect more with each other, with the world, with nature. The world's in a rough place, because when I've traveled around the country, I find a lot of loving people, but I also find a lot of broken people. And this society is traumatic. And it's not that I don't love America. I read this book called Land of Desire. It was the late 1880s. Groups of people that wanted to make money got together, and they worked on getting us away from our communal aspect, helping each other, being simplistic. They started getting us addicted to wanting more, showing us that we're missing something. There's something better out there. And now we're so disconnected, and there's nothing wrong with wanting things, but I feel like we don't really know what we truly want or is good for us. There's too much clutter. And I hope through this channel, I can help you, like I was helped with therapy, with Sammy, to clear that clutter so we can bring more love into our lives. The more we love ourselves, the more we can love other people. The stronger we are, less bullshit we put up with. And when I say we're all traumatized, I mean, we live in a society that there has to be GoFundMes to help kids, adults cover their health care. And then if you're poor enough, you can qualify for a state plan. Tell you what though, I'm on that right now. Most of the doctors don't take it, hardly any shrinks take it. You end up on the practices with doctors who are the last resort doctors. You know, some of them, they've gotten in trouble. Either they're really good and they care and that's why they work there, because it's a lot less money, or they, this is the last shot for them. And those places are crowded, it's hard to get in. The care isn't as good. A lot's not covered. Something wrong in a society where you work hard, you work full time, and this is what you get. You know, they always say get a better job. That's just a talking point. Anybody who works hard, who's working full time, should be able to care for themselves and their family. It's bullshit. So anyway, that's a form of trauma. You know, when a rich man doesn't have to pay taxes, and I'm talking about uber rich, but you can't afford health care, you can't afford to live, your employer pays you so little you qualify for food stamps. I mean, that's entitlement. Not getting food stamps. Entitlement is when you're that rich and you think all the money should go to you, so you pay your person so measly they qualify for food stamps. And I'm not opposed to capitalism. I write a book, it's mine. But once I hire somebody, pay him decent. And if paying him decent, you know, say I thought the minimum would be 50 grand. Paying him decent instead meant that year, instead of making $1 million, instead of making 800,000, instead of making 500,000, I made 100,000. So what? How rich do you have to be? I mean, now if I could pay this person 50 grand and still be a multi-millionaire, hey, I'm not opposed to that, but I still think there's responsibilities that come first and then you get your riches after, and that's entitlement. I need it now, so I'm paying my people like shit because I don't want to just be worth 100 million, 200 million. I need to be worth 100 and something billion. But my point is, when you live in a society where you can't go to adequate health care, so you're skipping going to the doctors, both parents work, you can't afford daycare, getting to be where you can't afford a house, you know, you can't afford a car. All of that is trauma. Surviving like that, day to day, that's neglect. Neglect is a form of trauma, so we are all trauma survivors. That all this stuff is obnoxious, and if we were all in good places, well then we wouldn't allow this to go on. No way would we put up with this shit if we loved ourselves. Yeah, made it. This was an accomplishment, just getting out here, and I feel good. This is the start the start of something good, getting better. Doctor once said that in his country, Sammy wouldn't even be considered for a heart transplant, and he wouldn't have been considered a contributing member of society. So they're talking about economically, financially, what does he contribute back? Because that's, what's important, right? It's all about money, economics. But Sammy was a inspiration, somebody who defied the odds, somebody who thrived, somebody who did the hardest work in the toughest circumstances and spread joy. He taught me to sink in, to really connect, to pay attention to my feelings, how things felt. Don't attach stories to them, and keep myself from feeling good or stick myself in something that feels bad. That made him one of the most contributing members of society. He made people look at life differently. And we need people like Sammy. Get rid of all the clutter and all the noise and listen and feel and start creating your own story. And then we can get stronger and better, more loving together. Just met a dad and his 2 little boys out here in the hike, and things like that, can make me sad. They're a little triggering because I miss Sammy and bringing him out on hikes and adventures. But he's not with me. He's always with me. And to where before, when I first lost him, I would have things like that might send me into a full-blown panic attack, and I was avoiding society. Now I get sad, but I'm also happy for him and his boys, and I always have Sammy with me in a new way. I carry him in here. I bring him with me everywhere, on every new adventure. I'm still his dad, just in a new way, and it's sad. But I think if you lean into trauma, I notice a difference where I am today compared to where I was. I feel rejuvenated. My energy that I talked about, the vibe, I feel one with everything. Feeling good, got some exercise I know is good for me, and I feel like that I'm going to do this.